It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US makes studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
And then Peter Sousa. He had a quick story to tell you about these guys. Peter Sousa.
Live from high atop Central Texas, it's the Pete Sousa Show, presented by the Rogue Media Network.
Here we are, baby. New intro. We'll probably get put in prison for that one, but damn, that was worth it. Scotty Swingler, great job on the Wheels of Steel. That was my college coach, Jim Reid. New wrinkle for you. We'll see how long we can hang on to that before somebody shuts it down. But I wanted a different little jingle here, right? As we get into the morning and we get into a big Monday, the Pete Sousa Show, of course, you see the logo up right here. That is the left side of your screen, my right, whatever. It's Slovacic's, and it kicks ass. A lot of folks I know that were actually in from out of town for the Iron Skillet and also for Baylor, Arizona State, stopped by Slovacic's. And guess what? Surprise to no one. It was an amazing experience. Also, thanks to Sikora Family Ford. They're keeping us on the road. And you better get on the road and figure it out. If you're looking for a car, stop and see Sikora Family Ford in West. First National Bank of Central Texas. That's where we put our money and we watch it grow and we know it's safe. And we thank Dan Ingham for that. Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers. I personally have had a chance to work with them. Not the most fortuitous bounce in the world when you're actually working with a personal injury firm. But if you have to work with one and you're in a tough spot, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers has got you covered. Crawford Austin Properties, thanks so much too. We're delighted to be here with you guys on a Monday. Kind of a rough weekend for Cowboys and for Baylor fans. You know, I consider myself, I have a vested interest in both of those teams. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. We did the pregame show, which went very well. Scotty Swingler again, like running that stuff. It was a really good show. A little trouble out of the gate, but I think the technical issues are behind that Green and Gold show, and it was a really good look. A lot of fun out there with Matt and Faith, and they had Big Cat come by. It was pretty cool. Robin Jones, of course. But I want to there's so much to unpack. We got Anthony Becht, by the way. He's a Philly guy, okay? An all-pro NFL tight end, a head coach now with the St. Louis Battlehawks. And the guy, I have a theory, by the way, and I'm going to ask Anthony about this. I believe he could be a head coach right now somewhere in college, but he also has a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to watch his son, Rocco, continue to evolve. And it's been a hands-on experience for Anthony, not like he's a helicopter dad or anything, but you see him at the games. You see him right there with his wife on the edge of his seat, just being there for his son. And I believe that could be one reason why we haven't seen him take a big-time head coaching job and why the Battlehawks are so perfect for him right now, because it's the off-season, right? But we'll check in with Anthony on that, a ton of other stuff, right? Iowa State being leapfrogged by Texas Tech in the rankings, and we're about to talk about Texas Tech in a second here too. Want to start with Travis Kelce and the big man, Big Red, Andy Reid last night. Altercation on the sidelines. Was it a big deal? Absolutely not. Okay, they won the game. I appreciate that Travis is still showing the passion, right? And I appreciate that Coach Reid is still holding him to that high standard. After the game, Coach Reid simply said, hey, you know, it's important for him to bring that energy. And Andy Reid saw something he didn't like, clearly, whether it was effort, energy, maybe there was something about the game plan that Travis didn't consume and it was clear on the field. Either way, that relationship and that fire and brimstone between the two of them sometime, I mean, the last time we saw was in the Super Bowl, right? When the Chiefs beat the 49ers in Vegas. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. If anything, I think it shows the pulse of this team has quickened a little bit, and they got a big win on a Sunday night on the road in New York. Throw everything else out. That's the kind of thing you need to see from the Chiefs. I believe, too, that Travis Kelce's probably frustrated because he's a human being that's in the latter stages of his career. Right now, I think over the course of 3 games, he's got 10 catches for 134 yards and 1 touchdown. I actually did the math on that, and I'm not that smart, but by the end of the season, like that's actually a better season than I thought Travis Kelce would have had. You know, at the end of the season, you're flirting with like 800 yards and I think like 5 or 6 touchdowns. Somebody could be doing the math right now to like keep me honest, and you'd see I was wrong, but you get the idea. For a guy that's in the late stages of his career, like Travis is, he still poses a threat to opposing defenses. Already, he's got, I think, an explosive right in his pocket, like a 40-yard gain so far this year. So he still shows the ability to get down the field, get down the seam, and be a problem. So I think this is all headed in the right direction, and I think it's much to do about nothing. It's certainly an interesting clip. And look, Andy Reid, I'll give a little plug as somebody from Philly and somebody who's sober and somebody who welcomed his son Garrett onto the podcast I do about sobriety, right? The payoff. Garrett Reid is an extension of Andy Reid, and he's been through a lot of tough stuff. But Andy Reid is the king of tough love and acceptance at the same time. And we've seen it with his own family, and we see it with his extended family like Travis Kelce. So if Andy Reid isn't getting on Travis in that moment, he's not doing his job, and he's not showing the love and the care factor that he shows when something matters to him, right? Or when he loves something. And Andy Reid certainly loves football and loves Travis Kelce. So that is not a big deal. I wanted to talk about that because it's kind of fresh overnight. We'll talk about the Cowboys and Baylor later on after we get a chance to chop it up with Anthony Becht. But I want to talk about Texas Tech and what's happening there and how it's sort of beginning to turn college football on its ear. Texas Tech, a huge win over the weekend against, obviously, Utah in a ranked battle right out in Salt Lake City. I think Texas Tech kind of took advantage of that, that early start, the 10 a.m. start in Salt Lake. I felt like Devin Dampier and the Utah offensive attack never really got the car out of the garage. But a big reason why is because of that Texas Tech defense. Texas Tech is now in the mix for a national championship. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why they are and why I feel good about it. And it starts with D. And does it end with E? I think it does. Defense, right? They've given up 11 points a game. I don't care who you're playing. You went on the road in a hostile environment, and you took it to Utah, another ranked team, on the biggest stage, the biggest opportunity you have had all season long. So from what we've seen from Texas Tech this year, we've seen exactly what we thought was possible. What's that? Well, it's a defense now that is just as explosive as its offense, which, oh, by the way, is averaging 52 points a game right now at this point in the season. Okay, the team ascends to, I think they are ranked 11th in the country. Yeah, they're ranked 11th in the AP poll, right? Is it 11th or 12th? 11th. So they're 11th in the AP poll. That is something that I think the Blue Bloods feared, and I think is freaking them out right now, because this is not, and we talked about this on the Green and Gold show a little bit. What this reminds me of, as a young guy, not anymore, but when I was a young guy and I was obsessed with football, and I really didn't live through it. I lived through the tail end of it, but I had always heard about it. I certainly lived through the sanctions, right? And I'm talking about SMU and the death penalty. And even as a little kid from afar, that story ascended to, I'm watching World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, and he's telling me about the SMU program, the football program, which had all the bells and whistles, right? They truly did. Ron Meyer, this sexy, charismatic, not sexy like that, but you got it. This charismatic head coach. He was always so well-dressed, so slick. And he oversaw this program with the likes of Eric Dickerson and Craig James, and a thumping after thumping after thumping of opponents. And people were like, where the hell do these guys come from? They don't have the pedigree for this. They don't have the history for this. Now, are they abiding by the rules? No, they weren't, right? So that got thrown out with the bathwater in about 2 or 3 years. And it was a huge story. And the death penalty set that program back, you could say, a decade. And maybe what Rhett Lashley said after their loss in the Iron Skillet to TCU set him back a little bit more. No, I'm just kidding. He was super passionate, and he should have been. I had no problem with those post-game comments. I think he's just a passionate. I think anytime you take something a coach says after a game and you try to encapsulate it and define that coach by those comments, give me a break, dude. That's like a very intense situation, period. I've been a PR guy before an NBA coach goes out to talk to the media, and there's really only so much you can do. If a guy's got something on his mind that he wants to say, he'll say it. I had one time where I told Maurice Cheeks, when he was the head coach of the Sixers, he had an NBA entertainment lav mic on. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I've gone on the record saying I was not a good PR guy. And I told Coach Cheeks, hey, Coach, it was after we beat the Pistons in the playoffs. I said, hey, Coach, you have a lav mic on right now, which he knew. I was just trying to fill the air with comments that I thought were important. This is before he talked to the team in the locker room after a playoff win. Coach, hey, take it easy. Don't swear. He looks at me. He's like, okay, dude. And then he flies F-sharp talking to the team. And then the next day he pulled me into his office and in no uncertain terms told me never to tell him how to talk to his team again post-game. So, or the media. So that was a lesson for me to learn real quickly that there's no getting in the way of an impassioned coach and what he's going to say to the media after a game. That's why they have a cooling off period. And that's why the cooling off period should probably be longer so coaches can get cooler. But when we look at Texas Tech, right, what they're doing right now is upsetting the apple cart, right? They're not a blue blood. And I mentioned the statistics, right? I have it written down here, 52 points a game, holding opponents to 11 points a game. Now, here's something scarier for folks that are all over the country clutching their pearls, right? Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, Texas, the only team that spent more money than Texas Tech. And oh, by the way, next year, Texas Tech has the #1 recruiting class in the Big 12 coming in. Guys like Felix Ojo, okay? This is not a one and done. And I can promise you, Cody Campbell and the folks in Lubbock are going to find creative legal ways, okay, to use NIL to their advantage. When the cap begins, right, and puts a ceiling on exactly how much you can kind of dole out payroll-wise, they will still be able to tap into the magnificent resources they have through guys like Cody Campbell. There's another billionaire whose name escapes me right now, but he was him and his wife oversaw the Nyjah Kennedy, right? The $1 million arm, the softball pitcher at Texas Tech. That's another thing too. A rising tide lifts all ships. At Texas Tech, it's not just like they're giving money to the football team, okay? Football, basketball. Grant McCaslin is ready to make a run to the championship. And JT Toppin might be the best player in the country. He returns to Texas Tech, not somebody who they poached out of the transfer portal. Okay, Texas Tech is on a heater. And if you don't want to acknowledge it, if you don't want to believe it, if it makes you uncomfortable, I got news for you. Suck it up, dude, because they're not going anywhere. I look at the rest of their schedule. This is the one thing that I believe could get in Joey McGuire's way this year. Okay, you have, and I'll just read off their schedule. At Houston, at a bye. Texas Tech they're coming off a bye. At Houston, right? That's going to be a tough game, but I think it'll be a win, especially off a bye. You get Kansas at home. That should be a win, although the Jayhawks look pretty good right now. Arizona State on the road. That's a tough game. Oklahoma State at home. We know that one. Kansas State on the road. We know that one. BYU at home could be tough. UCF at home. We're not sure yet. And then away on the road against West Virginia, they should be able to handle that. But I bring up their schedule because it's like the 22nd or 20th hardest in the nation, according to ESPN. And the Big 12 is on a heater, by the way. 7-1 against the ACC this year, and I think it's like 8-1 against Power 4 conferences. It's a real good look right now for the Big 12, and the distance between the Big 12 and the ACC, the gap has continued to widen. Another thing I think you can really tip your cap to Joey McGuire and his staff for, and I just talked about Sheil Wood and his defense, but offensively, like Will Hammond coming in the football game and then going 13 of 16 with 2 touchdowns. And I think it was, I wrote that down, 2 touchdowns, over 200 yards. He ran for 62 yards and no interceptions. That shows like depth and coaching and recruiting, and is another sign that this program is going to be here to stay. Guys like Cameron Dickey emerging, having an absolutely huge game. We saw Devin Dampier, one of the most athletic quarterbacks, not just in the Big 12, but in the country. He could not, we had talked about it last week, right? What can Texas Tech do? By the way, Utah has 2 first-round picks on their offensive line, okay? That Sheil Wood and his defense made Utah look pedestrian. And let's not even get into literally the storyline that was gift wrapped for Fox Sports. Okay. Jacob Rodriguez is out there dominating, makes a one-handed interception after playing an amazing game, puts the cherry on top of the sundae, right? And again, this was a blowout on the road against a ranked team. And it showed me that Texas Tech isn't just, they're annihilating teams. I wrote this down too. Their overall, they're 208 to 45. They're beating teams this year. That's their 208 to 45. These are the signs of a team that is quite ready to steamroll. But back to the Jacob Rodriguez thing. He's making a one-handed interception. The game is on Fox, which Fox loves this. His wife, who he married, I think they met at his first stop, which was, I want to say Virginia. So he meets his wife, right? She's still, I think she's stationed somewhere. Oh, I think she's actually in Manhattan, Kansas. And she actually missed her flight, or her flight got delayed. So she had to drive to Kansas City and then fly to the game in Salt Lake. She flies Black Hawk helicopters for the U.S. Army. I mean, can you not get behind this Texas Tech squad? Pretty good stuff. And the Big 12, like I said, on an absolute heater. And you got to love When I was in Waco, Joey McGuire, hired by Matt Rule, had a pipeline, right, as far as recruiting in Texas. And the dude can coach his ass off, and we're seeing it now. So good for him and good for Texas Tech. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics. We got one of the best Paisan tight ends the NFL has ever seen coming up next. Anthony Becht. Stay with us.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacics. There he is, Anthony Becht. What's up, man?
My man, Pete, what's up? It's been a long time, brother.
Man,
Congrats on everything you've been doing, man. I've loved to, I've watched your journey through the media, landscaping it, and, man, I'm impressed, dude. So congrats to you, man. It's always good to see Catholic League guys do well. That's for sure.
Oh, man, you did pretty well yourself. For people who don't know, this guy was a wiry wide receiver. He was like a ballerina in high school, right? I mean, literally, I'm rushing the passer I'm wearing like 5 or 6 sweatshirts so I can look strong and rushing the passer and looking over my head. And I got Anthony Becht literally climbing the ladder, coming down like 1 foot in bounds, like showing off the body control. And then this really, Anthony, leads me to my first question. Then you bust your ass. You get to West Virginia, become one of the best tight ends in the country, become a first-round pick as a tight end to the New York Jets. Obviously an amazing NFL career. Now you're a head coach and you're a father. Of all those things, because people see you, Anthony, like the finished product, and I don't think they understand the hard work that went into your ascension. You know, what stuff there in that whole pot do you draw on when you're talking to either your players or Rocco as you try to help them move forward?
Yeah, that's a great point. As you were saying that, I'm like, man, people just don't see the grind. They only see the end result. I think it starts just being a great father for Rocco. And I think that's exactly where that information gets shared, not only for Rocco, but for my players, is when you see the end result, you don't know what it takes to get there, and the obstacles and the adversities and the naysayers and the people that don't believe. How do you tunnel vision that? How do you put a plan in place? And I didn't have all the answers, Pete, when I was coming through. I had to learn a lot. I didn't have an NFL father or somebody, a former first-round pick, to tell me those things, but I also drew from my dad and my mom and everybody around me. But I was always a great listener. I never really opened my mouth. I heard, I watched, and I was aware of my surroundings at a young age. And I saw how talented players or people either took advantage of their opportunity and had success, or wasted their opportunity and didn't grasp the successes that were out there to gain. And the only people that get that really from me are now either my son, who's gotten it from day one, and he's been able to get the knowledge and get the information that's needed. And of course, he's got to go put that in place. It's just because you have it, right, Pete? Like, you can have everything you want, but if you don't know how to piece it together yourself, you're never going to make it. Or the players that I'm coaching now. And I think I take great pride in that, because the players that I'm coaching now, Pete, these are guys that were stars in college that didn't quite have what it took to get to the NFL and didn't understand why they didn't get there. And now I'm in a space at coaching where I get to help fill those voids, give them the information they need, and help them excel so that they can either know that, one, they can do it. Two, they have justification on, well, maybe this is the highest level that I can do it at, and fill the voids and holes for them so that they can take it to the next level. And we've been able to do that for 25 plus players over the last 3 years, get into a camp and at least get that chance, right? At that point, it's on them. I can't do it for them, but I can definitely help them. So that's why I'm so passionate about those things. But you're right. Like, I didn't go on spring break. I didn't do the things that a lot of college kids and things did. I sacrificed precious time in my life to help succeed and get to a goal that ultimately there was no guarantee for me that I could get there. And I was able to become a first rounder. But everywhere I've been, whether I was at St. Bernadette's as a running back, in CYO ball, where I thought I was going to be a baller in Bonner, and I wasn't. I had to sit 2 years and hope somebody got hurt my junior year just to touch the field, and then maximizing the opportunity and have persistence to continue to grow and believe. And then after you play on a great, our high school team was awesome. I mean, top to bottom, one of the great teams I've ever been on. I was not the best player. I was one of 10 great players, but I was the guy that got the chance and the opportunity. And even at West Virginia, when they didn't believe I'd beat anybody, I took the opportunity and I ran with it. And again, that's been part of my life and my journey that people don't know about, but it's been rewarding for me. And I get to share that now with a lot of people, my players, my son, and places like you, explaining how I got there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I can even go back to a personal experience. I can remember, I was going left. We were both seniors. I was partying all the time, hanging out. We were at a party in Upper Darby, and I remember you hit me on the knee. You're like, dude, what are you doing? And I remember, like, you always had a high care factor, and you were a truth teller. And even back then, that kind of grabbed me. And I would imagine that care factor, because like in the games that I do, one of the things talking to coaches, right? Like, how do you connect with players? It's like, they've got to know that you care about them. Even if it's a stop on the way in St. Louis to the NFL, or if you're in somebody's living room, right, trying to get them to come play football in Ames, Iowa. Like, do you dip into that care factor to sort of really get through to your guys?
Yeah, it's vitally important in this generation as well because the players, whether they're going from high school to college, to NFL, that they want to go to war with someone that has their back. And it's not just being their friend as a coach. I love my players that I coach. I love the players that I mentor. I spent 2 weeks with Iowa State in training camp, just watching Matt Campbell doing the things, being with the tight ends, and they got one of the best tight end groups in the country. Like, what can I give to help these guys succeed? And now as a head coach, it's like, okay, there's a lot of different things I'm trying to prove, right? I got a head coaching job a little differently than other head coaches, right? I didn't have the traditional path. I didn't have the traditional resume. Now, I think I have a strong resume on everything I've done in my career, but it's not the traditional coaching resume from going from maybe a high school coach to the college level to wherever these guys are going. So it's like, what can I do different? What can I provide that's different? And you're right. It's giving these guys the values, the needs, and understanding, and pushing them to the point where, like, listen, you got to be a truth teller, number one, but you don't want to wreck these guys' mindsets, because this is the mental aspect is much bigger than it ever was when I was a player. Like, you either had that hard grinding coach and you followed it and you either made it or you didn't. And, they probably, for the guys, they tried to weed those players out, or instead of weeding those extra guys out, can I maximize them more so that I can get more out of them? There's a key factor into that. I'm trying to develop and continue to do that. I think I'm on a great pace with that, but it is about teaching and having these guys' backs. But also, man, you got to help them grow, because at the end of the day, they got to know, can I do this? Can I get to the next level? Everybody wants to go to the NFL, which is great. They should all have those dreams, but they need to understand and realize what it takes to get there. And it's different now in college, right? These guys are getting paid. So there's a different mindset. They've kind of always felt like they've made it, they've accomplished that. And I love the fact that we pay players now, but how do you help them continue to grow? And I just look at places like Iowa State, Matt Campbell. He's not a transactional coach, but they're using $10, $15 million of the rev share money to pay their players, right? So how do they still do it? It's not because, they're in the Big 12. That's easy bull. I mean, the Big 12 is just as good as any other conference. They just don't play each other, and people they listen to the media and the masses, and they don't understand. But man, like, you can still do that. You can still be a part of this new turnover in money and the players getting paid. And you got to embrace the changes and adapt. And guys like Nick Saban, what they do, they got out. They don't want to be part of it. And that's okay. At least he was aware enough to understand this is going to be tough. It's going to be a challenge. I can't just get players to come to Alabama just for me, because there's money involved. And that is the deciding factor. So again, just where is that landscape going? Where do I want to go with it? You talked about coaching. I want to be a college head coach, period. I'm ready. I have a plan. I have a vision, but my time will come. My feet are grounded, and I'm going to wait my turn. But I'm growing and learning every single day, and helping players is the only way I know how to do it.
Now, would you, like, you're obviously ready to be a college head coach, and there were rumors, whatever, and this isn't about that. Today isn't about that, but about you for the West Virginia job. Do you ever think maybe this is like God's plan, or maybe it's your plan, that you're getting a chance to see Rocco now, this once in a lifetime experience up close? It really is cool to see you and your wife, Deanna, there on Saturdays, right? Or whenever the hell the games are. So, and sometimes I can feel the stress seeping through you guys, but I mean, and that's kind of a beautiful thing too. But do you feel like this is sort of the plan, right? Like maybe after his maturation, or he goes to the NFL and he's playing on Sundays, then you go full bore at a college football head coaching job.
Yeah, no, that's good, because you can't have a two-way street. You can't have it the way I want it to go, or the path that I feel is best for me. I do have some control on what I can and cannot take, because I'm in a different place in my career, right? I have a lot of different avenues and opportunities. Like I do a lot of stuff, but I truly am passionate about the coaching part. And I do a lot of stuff, Pete, not just now, but over the years, is because I'm looking to retain knowledge. When I was with ESPN for 8-9 years, calling 100, 200 college football games, yeah, it was fun to be on TV. But I was learning the college game. I was in the building. I was learning from coaches. I was seeing how they were doing things. I was seeing the good. I was seeing, like, I'm not doing that. That's not how I would do it, right? So it's an information gathering piece for me in my career. And now it's putting it all together. I'm still in the NFL side. But listen, I'm persistent in what I want. I've always been that way. And I have an agent, and I have all those things and different levels. but I'm not going to wait on anybody to help me. I have to go do it. I got to find a way to get in front of an AD. I got to find a way to get the information I need so that I can, be in a better place and get what I want. And, but what's nice is a blessing is coaching in the UFL schedule wise on the calendar has been a blessing. I mean, there's no doubt. I get to see my kid, like you say, every single week. I get to do Jet games and call that. And I'm seeing GMs and I'm in different buildings in the NFL. And man, I'm using all that to gain the knowledge and power that I need to excel in this business. And I just care. I think it does go back to, I care about players. I care about people. Like if I get a job somewhere, it's not just players. I care about coaches. I care about the janitors. I care about the fifth AD, whoever that is in the building. It all has to come together. So as I build my knowledge and information on how I can be a great people person, man, the football part's the easy part. I'm going to win. I've proven that. I've won to the UFL with zero resume and won 73% of my games right now. That's important. That's always going to be important. But man, I love building things. I love being the best at what I'm doing. But it's full circle. It's not just wins and calling plays. It's everything. And you need that now. In this landscape of where you're at, you have to lead. You have to be an elite CEO. You have to be an elite communicator. You have to be an elite around people, right? Because people got to do it. And you got to be genuine in what you do. And if you ask anybody that's known me, and you've known me through my way, not just in person, but watching me. If you go back and ask anybody that knew me in high school, at college, I'm the same guy. And I take a lot of pride in that. And it's not easy to do, Pete, because you can change. You can change when you're an NFL first-round pick. You can change when you made a lot of money. You can change when you get a job that other people want and you get, and feel privileged and change. I'm not that guy. The guy that you saw at Casey's bar in Drexel Hill 25 years ago in those conversations, you can have that same conversation with me if you're the bartender, and I'm going to give you the time, and you're going to like, man, it sounds just like the guy I met when he was at Bonner. So you can still be the same guy and have achievements and do great things. You don't have to change. And I try to live my life like that, and I just need one AD out there to just sit down and have some – I had a conversation with Daniel Parker this morning before what more can I do? I'm not going to make their binder of 10 top. I get it. It's resume driven. There's different paths. There's a traditional path, but man, I'm getting my information. I'm aligning my way to get where I need to get, and got great information today. And that information I was also gathered in the West Virginia opportunity. I got a lot of respect for Ren Baker. People can say it was a token interview. It was an hour Zoom in front of the people that mattered, that were making the decisions at West Virginia. And I got an hour to sell myself. And it may not have been the right moment for them to hire me, but man, I learned a lot. And I respect the hell out of Ren Baker at West Virginia for giving me that hour, because, it got acknowledged. Schefter was able to post something about having that interview. Those things are powerful, and I draw from that. And I'm blessed to get the opportunity. And I pray for Rich Rod to have a great career. I want West Virginia, my alma mater, to be great, but I also am very thankful for the opportunity, because I'm just trying to learn and grow, even if it's just an hour Zoom.
Yeah, Ren is the man. And honestly, I thought it made perfect sense for you to get that job. But like you mentioned, the opportunity, the experience. Last question on your coaching, and then I want to ask you a couple football Big 12 questions, and I'll let you get out of here. What is your number one selling point to an AD? You sit down, you talk to an AD, and you don't ever want to be a salesman. I think someone like you can just be yourself. But what does that conversation look like?
I think my experiences being a coach, being a former player, having a son playing at an elite level at the college, at the quarterback position, being in the media, in my relationships with people, I think it's a change now, right? So the coaching stuff that I'm doing now is the stamp on, can I lead? Can I coach? Can I win? Can I do it with maybe the lesser resume of a traditional coach? I'm showing that. Can I lead people? I think I'm a lead at that. There's no question about it. There's players that want to play on my team that aren't on my team, that are on other teams. That's great. And I can't have them all on my team. I try my best. Can I recruit? I got to recruit my players to come play for me. I have to recruit them on not signing a futures deal in the NFL, crushing maybe that dream and buying into what we're doing so that they can build themselves up to be a better player, so that they can bet on themselves to get another chance with other teams in the NFL. So that's a part of it. You got to have a partner. If you're an AD, you got to have somebody that's aligned with what you want to do. I'm all about it. You know me, like I'm not like a Twitter insert, but I use social media. I think I look at Matt Rule. Let's use him as an example. I don't know how many games Matt's going to win, if he's ever going to get where he wants or Nebraska's going to be. But, man, he is building relationships with his audience, his parents, his players, and he's getting a lot for it. I've been doing that for 3 years. Like, everything we do is on content, social content. I use that as a platform because people need to see what I'm doing. They need to see that I genuinely care about the players and the people that are around me, and that I can be a great partner. And also the other side is, let's just say G5 jobs or whatever. These guys need to raise money a little differently. They need a real partner for that, right? So I'm a guy that can sit down and have those conversations and help, kind of feed into that, right? Because that's ultimately the goal. Like, how do these G5 schools stay up with the Joneses? It's hard, right? They're not getting it. They're not getting the same dollars as the big schools. They're not in the big TV deals. So they got to do it different. So let's get in a car and go talk to 25, 30 different people that haven't given anything, and let's sell the vision and the plan, right? So, like, you got to have a great partner, but the football stuff's the easiest thing I can provide for the school. That's easy. And the coaching staff is going to be elite. Like, I got coaches on my staff right now. I scratch my head, Pete. Why are they with me? Like, because they deserve to be in the NFL and college. So those are just some of the small things, but you got to feel me, touch me, and see me. You got to bring me in, and we got to talk about it. And, I'm going to make it hard for them to at least let me out the door. That's the goal.
And if you mentioned that platform, you use your platform, it is kind of a vibe around St. Louis right now. And you're a part of that, right? Like off the field, which is sort of what we're talking about now. I want to ask you about Rocco on and off the field. His development has been really enjoyable for all of us to watch. I mean, it's now risen to an elite level. What have you been most proud of on or off the field to watch him develop?
Well, he's crushed anything at his point in the career in college, at that point where I was at that point in my college career. I didn't have the answers. I wasn't a quarterback. No one cared about the mistakes I made. I will say this: he is mentally strong. He understands the value of mental health. He understands how to get himself in a place where he believes in everything he does and he can get it done. I listen to a lot of Tom Brady and some of the words that come out of his mouth. And listen, Tom Brady's elite. He's different, but you have to have certain traits at the quarterback position that separates you. And if you're just going to look at stats, and he's got great stats, if you're just going to look at wins and losses or whatever that may be, and they win a lot of games, you got to be able to do a lot of other things when you play quarterback at any level, in particular power forward. And if you want to be in the NFL, you got to have certain intangible factors that separate you. And I think that anytime someone will sit down with Rocco and they get to know and understand what his mental makeup is, that will be the deciding factor on where he is. And he's done that on his own. I've guided and helped. My wife has guided and helped. But if you don't have it, then you don't have it. And that's okay, because not everybody has it. But that in that position, you need it. So I'm proud of that. I'm also proud of the person he is off the field. When you get money and you get these different things, you can be very different in life, and you can be, you may not give the time to others and take those moments. I've always been someone that has given time to people, because it's genuinely something that if I didn't have the accomplishments that I had, no one would talk too much about me. We would just be talking about Bonner stories and Carroll stories, right? And that goes away. Nobody knows that. But man, I genuinely love the conversations when people come up to me and like, oh, doesn't that bother you? Like, no, man, I may help somebody in that moment. I don't know what's going on in that person's life. And I just think for me, that's Rocco, man. Whether it's a kid, a parent, a recruit, somebody that comes up to a restaurant, he genuinely takes time to look in your eyes, listen to your conversation, and give you a real answer that matters in your life. And he's touching a lot of people because of that. That's genuinely what me and my wife love. He's an elite player. He is going to accomplish whatever he wants in his life. Do I think he's the best player in college? Do I think he's a number one? I do. I know what he's about. People have to learn and understand what he is and what he's about to get that vibe. And when they do, they'll have their chance. But where he's at now in his career, it's a blessing to sit back and watch him. And it is nerving. I don't get nervous about anything. But when you're in the stands and I have no control, my wife's hanging on my arm because she's stressed out. I'm trying to keep a clean face because I know I'm the biggest guy in the stands. The camera finds me always, Pete. So I got to keep a steady face. People are like, smile. I'm like, I don't know when they're catching me, right? So it just is what it is. But I'm proud of him because he's done it himself. you don't teach people their mental mind makeups. They have to go about that, and they have to build on that. And I appreciate the support that coaches and at Iowa State, player personnel, people that have been around him, Chad Pennington, my friends, guys that have helped him develop that, because ultimately that's what separates you from being just a good college quarterback to being an elite one. And it's been awesome to watch, man. I'm proud of him, and I want it to slow down. I don't want it goes fast. I told him the day I dropped him off, Pete, I'm going to snap my fingers. You're going to be a junior, a senior, and I don't know where you're going to be or what you're going to do, but it's going to go. And I look at the clock, the second quarter's there. It's half. Man, like slow down. Like I want to see more, because I know these are the best years of his life, and he's embracing it.
That's when you know you're watching like something you love, right? When you do that, you check the clock, and that's, you're literally on the clock with this pure joy. One thing you mentioned about him connecting with coaches and people in that building, for Taylor Mauser to say, I die for him. Like that quote early in the year, I was like, damn, but that clearly says something about the man. But I think also it says something about what Rocco's doing in that building, like the lonely work. Like what is he doing to give him that extra advantage on game days? Because clearly something's going on there.
Well, listen, I can only speak for my son, but I also know that there's a lot of quarterbacks across the country that work hard and do things behind closed doors that nobody sees. I just know that Rocco's process is very regimented, and he gets and understands what he needs to do. And it starts, Sunday morning after the game. Like you gotta digest criticism. You got to be able to understand your faults, and you got to understand how to take coaching. And then after that's done, the second half of the day, you got to close the book, find the answers, and start on Arizona this week, right? That night, right? And you got to be able to have mental clarity and not let it bug. And because even if you play a great game, Pete, you always have something, right? If you win a game and you wake up the next day and you are not completely worried about the next day's meeting because of 3 or 4 things you just knew are going to show up and it may embarrass you. Like if you don't care that much about it, then man, you're in the wrong profession, because that's when you learn and grow the most. Because if you win and you get through it and you're not pissed off about some of the things that happened that you got away with or unscathed with, then you're never going to take the steps and strides of being a great player and a great performer. So, and then bam, Chad Pennington and myself, Chad, obviously an elite quarterback, man, the guy can coach anywhere he wants. He chooses to coach his kids in high school, and he's got 3 excellent sons that are playing quarterback for him in high school that are graduating. But him and me, we've come up with like this 26-point oil change inspection, right? All those different things they do to fix a car when you bring your oil. There's things as a quarterback you have to learn and understand and have answers for on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, third down, third and short, break it down. If you don't have those answers, Pete, and you're the quarterback, you are not going to be playing well in the football game. So what are those things? And then he's got the guidance of his coaches. Did you have a conversation with your OC? Did you sit down with him after the game and talk through the plays and the ups and downs? Did you have one at the end of the week as you're getting ready? So like all these different things that you have to do, you cannot leave the building until you have those answers down. And he doesn't do that. And, look, you have kids, right? We got Life Lock, Life Alert 360. I know when he leaves the building, and I know when he gets in the building. And it is the same every single day since he's been there, whether he was a starter or not. And then you talk about Coach Mauser, man. Like, there's no better coach that he could be around more than Taylor. Taylor is authentic. Taylor has a player's mindset, but he also has no ego, and he's selfless. And he gets guys to run through a wall for him, and he understands. Like, he's the first one to tell Rocco, no, that's on me. That's my bad. That's a bad, but Rocco's going to do the same thing. So that relationship, ultimately, how can you not have success when you go like that, right? Even Coach Campbell, those conversations he has with Coach, like Coach listens to him. And you got to earn the right to do that, Pete. You can't just sit down and ask for things or talk about things. You have to earn that. So you got to keep your mouth shut, like I did, and everybody, if you want to be great, and you got to be able to take it in. And then you got to prove that you can earn the right to open your mouth. And once you do that, people will listen to you as well. But it's got to be a group deal. So that's what makes Rocco different. And again, there's a lot of kids that are doing that, but are you doing it right? Is the process clean? Do you have people around you that understand what you're doing and why you're doing it? And do your players respect you enough that in those moments in the fourth quarter, when they need you, they are going to run through a wall and believe in what you're saying and doing so you can win that game in the fourth quarter? And that's what he does differently. And hopefully he can keep doing it, man, because it's been fun to watch.
All right, last football question and last question overall. What's the ceiling for this Iowa State team? Nobody knows it better than you. I mean, you're flirting with the college football playoff appearance last year. That's a ceiling. I know those guys want to break through and absolutely can, but for somebody who sees the team all the time, what are your expectations?
That's up to them to decide. Are they good enough to run the table and go undefeated? Yes. A lot of teams can say that. Are they good enough to win the Big 12 championship, get back to where they want, have that chip on their shoulder, and want to get where they – of course they can. They have the players. They have great coaching. But ultimately, man, you got to take care of business every week. The Arizona Wildcats are coming to town. This is your championship game. And I talk about this with my players. Yeah, we want to win the championship. We want to win every game, and they're all important. I don't mind talking about it with my guys. I want to win every single game. But, man, this one's the championship game this week. So we have – as much as we want to win the ultimate championship – we got 12, 13 championship games we have to win, and this is the next one. So, man, you can't have any regrets when you're on the field. It's hard to play perfect. But the teams that can really challenge and get themselves through adversities in a game and overcome them, whether you've thrown 50% completions, or you've fumbled 3 times, or there's an interception, or your defense has let up explosive plays, in the moment, can you overcome those things? And that's what it's going to come down to, because teams aren't going to play clean every single week. It's who overcomes it. And I think the one thing about Campbell that in my 2 weeks of spending time is, man, all they talk about is all the adversities that are going to hit. Now, they may not have hit yet, Pete, but if you prepare your team for those adversities, they understand how to overcome them because they have answers. You give them those answers to those problems. Then the players have to go out there, and you're talking about 18 to 21-year-old kids, right? Like, these guys are young men growing. These are hard circumstances to overcome. The mentally strong can get to those places better, and Campbell does a great job there. And Rocco is a great mouthpiece for that because he believes in that. He believes he can overcome a pick six. He believes he can overcome a crappy 3.5 quarters of football and do it in the fourth quarter. And those teams that have that, when they're in those moments, they will succeed. And that's why I lean on they can do it, because they are mentally strong enough. They have the guidance to do it. And it's up to them to make those decisions, to do it in those moments. I can't predict the future, but I know they have it in them to do it. And I'm excited to watch every single game that they play and hope they can get what they want, because they're only going to get what they put into it. And that's what we'll see as the season goes on.
You mentioned a great little inside football or basketball. I'm lucky enough to do a lot of Big 12 hoops. And so you talk to TJ Otzelberger, and they're always doing very well. So a lot of times the conversation will always go to, I got to get these guys ready for when something goes wrong. Like that's the number one thing, because something will go wrong no matter how high we're riding. And how do you respond to that? By the way, one more thing, dude. So you were in New York for 10 years with the Jets?
No, I played 5 seasons and I went to Tampa.
Okay, 5 seasons in New York. You are tailor-made for the media. I mean, to handle the media, that should be seriously.
Well, it was number one, Pete. I did that I still do a little bit of it, but listen, I'm a competitor.
dealing with the media in New York, answering those questions.
Oh, yeah, no.
You know what that's like.
You're right. No, there's no doubt. I can, and I talk to a lot of them every single week.
I know,
well. Listen, if you can survive that media, you sure as hell can survive anywhere else in the country, let alone maybe places like, Ames, Iowa, who does a great job, but it's just different. But listen, that's a part of it, right? So those are experiences that I have that are tremendous assets to have, because that matters in a certain aspect of coaching. Guys say the wrong things all the time, right? So I'm not an expert at it, but you got to have that experience. And that's why I got into the media first, because it wasn't my time yet. I had to learn and grow and do some things. And that's just one of the boxes that I can bring in those moments. So yeah, I love it. It's great, but I do want to be a coach. I'm pushing it because I'm adamant about persistence of getting something you want, but I also know I'm growing every day, man. And I understand, it's going to take a special AD. It's going to take someone to, you know what, man, this guy is worthy of listening to, and I just want to be listened to. I don't want the job. I don't want you to do me a favor. I don't want you to give me a handout. I want you to just listen. And if it's not good enough, I can sleep with that. the next day. And you can too, but you only know and learn if you hear it. So it's going to be it will happen. When it does, I don't know, but I'm going to keep pushing myself to be great every single day. But I love where I'm at. I love what I'm doing. Getting to talk to people like you, spread my message, and talk about ball and life is awesome. So congrats to you, man. Like I said, man, this is great, and I appreciate the platform.
Dude, congrats to you. And by Anthony Becht, as the kids would say, a real one. After when I got sober, I had like a radio station I was working at in Springfield, Massachusetts, and I got you. You did it. You did a telephone interview with me. And what were you doing? You were playing Madden with Rocco when we called you. So
Oh my gosh.
it's a beautiful thing, dude. Anthony Becht, man, dude, I know I'll see you down the road. And yeah, man, you're the best. I so appreciate the time, dude.
You got it, Pete. Appreciate it, man. Go Cyclones.
All right, man. There he goes, Anthony Becht. Just a true pro on and off the field. And I've been telling you guys forever how amazing of a dude he is. And you get to see it right there, face to face. So, I mean, you want to wish him luck, but it's almost as though he doesn't need it because of the way he lives and all the intel he has. But yeah, man, real cool to see awesome people succeed. And yeah, look forward to seeing Rocco succeed, right? Big game. He mentioned it for the Cyclones coming off a bye against an undefeated Arizona team. So a lot at stake on Saturday. We're going to step aside and come back to Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics. We're going to bring in old Scotty Swingler, talk about the Cowboys, talk a little bit about Baylor. And Scotty is riding high about Indiana and Georgia Tech. We'll be back after this, the Pete Sousa Show on the Rogue Media Network.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious.
Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. It's so funny. Here we are in the first segment. We mentioned SMU and the Pony Express, right? And then I look down at my phone, and what do I see? Home Field Apparel, which is where I get a bunch of T-shirts from there, trying to sell me an SMU 1984 Hula Bowl shirt. Like, they're coming for us, folks. That is why whenever I do stuff online, or if I'm talking to like ChatGPT, I'm always very kind. Not only because I love you, Chat, but because I think they might be coming for us at some point. If they are, I'm going to be on the right side of that. So no, I'm actually sending Home Field Apparel. Everyone should be happy. I'm like, dude, why don't we do a partnership or a sponsorship? I wear your clothes. You're trying to sell me stuff all the time. We got a YouTube show with almost 90K subs. I told him to call games, football, basketball for ESPN. So I don't know. Hopefully we have better luck than Baylor did on Saturday. All right, Scotty, come on. Let's bring in Dr. Swingler. I would like to get an obituary.
Doctor, huh?
On Saturday. Look, man, I was depressed about it. We did the pregame show, which was such a shot in the arm. And I got in the car. I put the game on Fox. I drove all the way to DFW watching the game and then finished watching it. What a heartbreaker, man. What a heartbreaker. What was your number one reason as to why Baylor lost that game?
Head coach Dave Aranda.
Okay. I mean, and this is real talk. It always is real talk here.
We keep asking
anybody but you. I would say that's a lazy answer, but I know you're going to give me the reasons behind it. So please go ahead, because I want to hear from you.
No, Pete, it's simple. It's not a lazy answer when it's the correct answer. Listen, we keep shrugging our shoulders and saying, why can't Baylor put a game together in all three phases at the same time? And at some point, accountability only falls on one dude for that. Like, why did the defense take a huge step up, and in the same week, the offense can't move the football? I could give you a bunch of answers. I could ask why Bryson Washington only had 8 carries in the first half. I could ask why we were taking no deep shots, no rail routes, no post against a defense that was daring us to throw deep. I could ask all kinds of questions. But the bottom line is, this team cannot put all three phases together at the same time for 3 seasons now. And at some point, it falls on the head coach. Sorry, this is the 4th season now that we've struggled to put all 3 phases together in a single game at any given point. And at some point, it falls on the head coach. So we can we can talk about, why did the team lose the turnover battle 3-0? We can talk about like freak things that will never happen again, like Josh Cameron having 2 fumbles a game. Yeah. That will never, ever, ever, ever. He could play 12 years in the NFL and he will never fumble the ball twice in a game again. It will never happen again. But bottom line, if you told me before the game, Pete, your defense is going to hold Arizona State to 27 points, Jordan Tyson is going to have less than 50 yards, I would have said Baylor by 3 scores. But this team cannot just play fast, furious football. And I'm holding the guy at the top accountable. I'm holding him accountable.
Why do you think, like last year, I can remember watching Baylor, and the TCU game was a great example. And I think you can compare the physicality of TCU last year or this year to Arizona State. Like, I'm talking in the trenches, right? Like, yeah. I can remember Baylor giving the football to Bryson Washington and just watch the line of scrimmage, right? Just move down the field. Like, there was that Baylor offensive line was something that Spavital and Aranda, right? They really dipped into and took advantage. Why are they not doing that this year? Is it something? Is it a deficiency with the line? Do they miss? Let me ask you this: do they miss Dawson Prendergrass? Like, what's going on there? Because I'm surprised that they don't just feed Bryson Washington more often. And don't get me started on Caden Knighton. I love Caden Knighton. I do. I appreciate him. But when I see him on the field, I'm like, this is not how you compete in the Big 12. I'm sorry.
Caden is going to be an excellent player for Baylor. He is really good. He's a freshman. To answer one of your questions, yes, the Bears desperately miss Dawson Pendergrass. That's an element.
That's an element loss.
It is, and it's an element they cannot replicate with anyone else on the roster right now. So yes, they do. But that doesn't excuse your first question, which is why the heck wasn't the game plan heavily involving Bryson Washington from the jump? Dude still had over 100 yards in the game. He averaged 6.5 yards a carry. Kenny Dillingham's first comment, one of his very first comments in his post-game presser was, well, we failed on one of our goals. We knew that Baylor was 0-5 when that running back doesn't get 100 yards, and he got 100 yards today. But Bryson did that despite him being written out of the game plan, largely. And dude, it was confusing because Ashton Hawkins was on the bench in the first half. We assumed for disciplinary reasons. So you're down your number 2 receiver. You're down your number 2 running back for the season. Your offensive line has struggled to get in rhythm all season. And in a game where turns out at the end of the game, we look back and go, oh, wow, Baylor's offensive line actually got some push today. Bryson Washington actually found some creases today. Oh, we decided just not to give him the ball. We're going to let Sawyer try to throw the ball 50 times a game. And you know me, I love Sawyer Robertson.
Yeah, me too.
But when you not only do that, but again, you limit the way he was throwing. There was no shots down the sideline, which is what I think he does best. There was no aggressiveness in how you're calling routes. And it was like banging my head into the wall, Pete, watching that offense, which moved the ball so well against SMU and fairly well against Auburn. Just like forget how to play. And again, we can look at Sawyer, we can look at Josh, we can look at Spav, we can look at play calling. It comes down to one guy, Pete. It comes down to the head coach. When a guy tells you who he is, believe him. This stat about the home record, did you see?
Yeah, that sucks.
Bro, I made a graphic. I don't have it loaded in here. I made a graphic last night for Please Bear With Me. The 3 teams Baylor has beaten at home in 3.5 seasons now are Kansas twice, Oklahoma State once, and TCU once. Meanwhile, they have lost at home to every other Big 12 opponent, including Houston, including West Virginia, including Oklahoma State once. So, and every other Big 12 opponent you can name. So I don't blame fans for being frustrated. And it's year 4 of we can't get excited to play football. And I blame the head coach. I do.
Well, and look, let me be like toxic positivity, Pete. Okay.
Okay.
Just
ready.
hang in there with me.
Let's go.
Like, you have an opportunity now. I mean, the rest of the schedule sets up. You've lost to an Auburn team in the SEC who got jobbed against Oklahoma, right? They could feasibly be a top 15, top 10 team right now. They could. Okay. And you lost to the team that won the Big 12 last year and was literally was a play away from advancing against Texas in the college football playoff. When you look at the rest of the schedule, I'm not calling it easy street, but there are not many hurdles left for this team. So the question to you, my friend, hold on. My question to you, host of Please Bear With Me with Terrence Ganaway and the executive producer of the Green and Gold pregame show. We can say that now because the show went awesome in the last 2 hours. Can this be salvaged? And I want you to don't be negative. Can this be salvaged this season? Can they make the Big 12 championship? Can they get into the college football playoff still?
Sure.
Can you ill afford? So does one more loss put you out of it?
Yes, I think so. I think
you can't lose again.
because I think prior to the season, I thought there was going to be most Big 12 teams at the top with 2 losses. I no longer think that. I don't think Texas Tech is going to have 2 losses. I wonder if Iowa State's going to have 2 losses. I don't know if Arizona or Houston or BYU is going to keep shocking us and get through conference with only 1 or 2 losses. Like TCU. Is TCU going to have 2 losses in conference? They're certainly going to beat Baylor. I mean, let's just be honest. Like right now, the way those 2 teams stack up. So, dude, in Fort Worth, right now, the way both those teams look, they are going to smoke Baylor. So, yes, is it possible? Of course. Of course. If Baylor turns around starting this week in Stillwater, and they better win big this week in Stillwater after Tulsa went in there and won this Saturday. When Baylor wins big in Stillwater, could you get some momentum, go undefeated the rest of the way, make the title game? Will I forgive you for the beginning of the season? Absolutely. Sure. But Pete, what I'm not satisfied with, and I don't think you were doing this, but I've heard other Baylor fans doing this. Other Baylor fans than me. You're in the media. You're so professional. You don't root for any teams, right?
I wish I've heard no, but actually,
I have heard some Baylor fans.
I root for and feel like a weirdness in my gut. I don't know how that happened, but go ahead.
I've heard some Baylor fans say, well, we said before the season if we went 2-2 in this stretch, it would be okay. Or, well, kind of like you just did, well, you lost to a really good SEC team and the conference champion. Pete, I don't care, because what I saw on the field was Baylor, certainly against Arizona State. Against Auburn, Baylor got outplayed, dude. Baylor got outplayed in that game. I think Baylor still could have won and should have won, but they got outplayed. Arizona State did not outplay Baylor. The fact that Arizona State won that turnover battle 3-0 and had to win on a last-second field goal tells you Baylor was a better team, had better depth, better players, played the best defensive game they've played all season, should have in every way beat that Arizona. That Arizona State team is not better than the team Baylor has. They are not. Like, I did not see a better and we gave them the football game. That is unacceptable to me. I don't care how the rest of the season goes. That's on the head coach. That's on the head coach. You had more talent. You had more depth. You lost the turnover battle 3-0 and lost by a field goal. You should have won that game, and you blew it. You blew it. So like, I don't like this. Oh, let's look at the bigger picture crap, because Arizona State is not as good as we thought. Arizona State is not as good as we thought they were August 15th. They're not that good. They're okay. They're pretty good. They might finish in the top half of the conference, but Sam Levitt's not as good as we thought he was. That team is not as good as we thought they were. Cam Scadaboo, turns out, was an X factor last season.
But Cam said to me, well, and they lose Cam Scadaboo. I said, that reminds me of, like, my father used to say, other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Like, that's a huge deal.
That's right.
You can't just like throw away that
exactly line. By the way, did you see him hit that backflip after his touchdown against the Chiefs? That was awesome.
I didn't. But
dude, Scadaboo laid out like ultimate stretch for the goal line, got the ball across, got up and did a backflip. I love that guy.
That guy only goes one speed, dude. He's a great guy to watch.
He's unbelievable. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I'm going to tell you why the Cowboys are really, really screwed. I have a theory, and I think it checks out. And then we're going to get out of here. Thanks so much, by the way, to Chris Visser for hooking us up with Anthony Becht. And Anthony, obviously, an old buddy. And thanks so much for Scotty Swingler for getting us on the air and helping me piece together that new intro. We're not done yet today. We're going to come back. I just wanted to dish out a couple thank yous. And I also have a cool story for you about how our show really enhanced the quality of the Fox broadcast this weekend between Baylor and Arizona State. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovachiks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
whypersonalloans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit personalloans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Stability.
The Pete Sousa Show here. One last segment before we wrap it up and get out of here. Scotty, I'll give you one more opportunity here because I know you want to talk about. I'll give you like 2 minutes on Indiana and Georgia Tech before I get us out of here. Like because I want to say,
listen,
I'm not so sure about Georgia Tech yet. I'm just not. But
you're a fool for that.
Okay, fine. But
you're right.
1,000%. I admit this is what we do. This is confession right here. I'm a Catholic school kid. God, I was wrong about Indiana. No,
63-10.
Yeah, I'm saying, Father, I was wrong. What's Craig Signetti?
Indiana just treated Illinois the way Texas treated freaking Sam Houston State.
Is it Craig or Kurt Signetti?
Kurt.
Coach
Sig.
Coach Sig. Like, dude, what they did to Illinois.
3-10.
They put the world on notice, dog, because here's the thing. Honestly, Scotty, I was like that. They're one and done. They're like SMU was last year, right? Like surprise, you get those seasons almost like Georgia Tech in 1990. Like you have these teams emerge from Anthony Becht, right? His West Virginia Mountaineers long before he was there in 1988 when they lost to Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. Like these teams have these years that are super special and then they disappear. and then not the case, dude. Go ahead, Indiana.
I tried to tell you last season. I tried to tell you this summer. What Coach Cignetti is doing in Hoosier country is real. It is not a one-hit wonder, Pete Sousa. He is building a program, a real college football powerhouse program. And they are going to keep competing to be at the top of the Big Ten. And they will make the college football playoff. And I'll take it one step further. If we had our brackets loaded in, we both predicted the playoff. I predicted Indiana would make it as an at-large bid. I am not saying they are going to win the Big Ten, but I'm saying after this past Saturday, if you don't think they have a shot, a legitimate shot this season to overthrow Ohio State and Oregon and Penn State and whoever else ends up at the top of that conference, you're not watching football, dude. They have a shot. I still don't think I'd pick them. I still have questions about, when they played some of those teams last season, they just got whooped up front. They did. It's
schedule, by the way.
It's hard to build. They've got a couple of those teams coming up.
Okay.
It's hard to build up that O&D line to that level in a season or two. Ohio State and Penn State might still just whoop them up front.
Well, so here's the deal. So you got Oregon, right? That game's on October 11th.
Huge game.
You can't look past Iowa, but that's that.
I can.
Okay. So you got Oregon on the 11th of October, and then another one you got to circle on the road at Penn State on November 8th. So Oregon and Penn State are both road games. So look,
correct,
man, they will have every opportunity in the world. Remember last year where their schedule was so favorable they didn't play anybody? Like this year. I mean, by the way, what was Illinois ranked? 9th?
9.
Yeah. And they beat the brakes off them, dude.
Beat the brakes. And listen, I think I think this goes both ways. I think Indiana was underrated. I think Illinois is probably a little overrated. I think both are true. If Indiana wins either of those games, I'm not saying I would be shocked if they win both. Like, I'm on the train. Those are two of the toughest environments to go win a game in college football. I mean, two of the 5. Like, those are intense road environments. But if they win one of those two, the conversation has to change to they're in that class with those two. Because there are very few head coaches who I believe in more than Coach Sig, man. I mean,
it's like you played for him.
I have a man crush on this guy because he takes no excuses. Like, I know he got some crap for it last season because he said this and then they lost their biggest games last year against the biggest opponents. But when he was like, Google me, that's when we're talking about what Scotty wants in his head coach instead of Dave Aranda. It's that. I'm not saying you have to be a jerk, but have some confidence, have some fight. You can watch him talk. You can watch Matt Rule talk. Heck, you can watch, Ryan Day talk. You hear somebody that you want to follow into battle. And I believe so heavily in Coach Sig. And then, I'm not going to make a big deal out of the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets now being first.
Temple, dude.
I know. That's why I just said I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. They beat the brakes off Temple. They should. I'm just telling you, I knew before the season, if someone's going to come out of the ACC, it's going to be them. I believe so much in Haynes King, dude. Haynes King is like your trademark, good story college quarterback, Longview High, 5-star quarterback. Couldn't cut it, apparently, at Texas A&M. Reinvents himself at Georgia Tech. I told you before the season, Brent Key, heck of a better football coach than Bill Belichick at the college level. That's also looking to be very true. I think this Georgia Tech squad is securely in the driver's seat, by the way. Clemson, SMU down. I don't know. Florida State, maybe. Those are the two teams to watch, obviously, in that conference. But I think Georgia Tech's in the driver's seat in the ACC.
Just a wonderful day for Scotty, despite all the losses for his true teams, to have Indiana and Georgia Tech.
It feels good to be right.
And even Joe Milton came on yesterday in relief of Dak and
Dude, bro. I'll just tell you that quick story, and then you can finish with your point. And he's in the graphic. Where'd my Cowboys graphic over here? There's Joe Milton right there.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, I was running around town a little bit yesterday, taking care of some things, and I got in the car, turned the Cowboys game on the radio, and I hear Brad Sham say Milton, and I jumped up, and I'd seen that the Cowboys were down big, so I immediately shot a text to some buddies that I've been talking smack about Dak to, and I was like, aha, Dak benched, the Joe Milton era has begun, and on the next play he threw an interception.
Well, all right, so get out of here. I'm going to wrap this up, and then we'll go. All right, so the Cowboys are really in trouble, and I think yesterday we saw exactly why. And if you're a Cowboys fan, I'm not hitting you over the head with any breaking news or any brand new developments, but your defense is not good, and which means your offense is going to have to do more. And Dak is not at a phase in his career, I don't know that he ever was, where he can be the guy that is going to beat you with his arm when he's coming at you throwing the football all the time. Now, the running game was actually pretty good for the Cowboys. But the problem is, the Bears suck. And so that is to me the scariest part of that thumping yesterday, because truth be told, man, I had the Cowboys. I had them in a tease. I thought there was no way they were going to lose. I thought 1 point was laughable, and I was wrong. And I think now that has allowed me to kind of see this team truly for who it is, with the defense that is really bad and with the quarterback who is not good enough to overcome the deficiencies of that defense. And if you are asking, like, Dak was trying to force throws into spots where he's just not able to get a football, like skill set wise, physically. And he paid a penalty for that, right? And he will not be able to do that as the season continues. So unless something changes drastically with the Cowboys defense, and I feel better, and this is wacky, but it's true. I feel way better about Baylor, even after Scotty and I talked about Bryson Washington and the running game. I feel better about if Baylor were look, we're going to do tempo. We're going to go 5 wide, empty backfield, and Sawyer Robertson is going to win or lose every game. I would be okay, I can sort of see that happening. Especially because in college football, I love what tempo does to quarterbacks, because it eliminates a lot of the mind games and a lot of you can overthink a little bit and you can lose a rhythm, right? I mean, obviously you need to be a thinker at the quarterback position, but I think you understand what I'm saying. When you get lubed up like that and you're running a tempo offense, I think guys like Sawyer can just go gangbusters. But on the other side of that, there's never going to be an opportunity like that for Dak Prescott in the NFL. And if the Cowboys are asking him, and I don't care how much money he makes, I don't care if you're pissed about that. If the Cowboys are asking Dak Prescott to go out and win them football games for the majority of the season, that is an untenable situation. So the Cowboys at 1-2, I don't know that it gets much better from here on out. Let's call up the Cowboys schedule before we get out of here. I just love looking at it. By the way, there's only one quarterback, unless somebody did it in the Sunday night. No, because I checked after the Sunday night game. Only one quarterback in the NFL threw for over 300 yards yesterday. That's, I find that interesting. Is there something happening in the league? Are we moving more towards, running the football? We can find that out later in the week, because we got some people who know much more about me than college football coming on, and pro football. Oh, why did I just say, oh? Because I forgot that the Cowboys play an angry Green Bay Packers team and Micah Parsons coming up this Sunday night. Then they're at the Jets. They're at the Panthers. Commanders at home. Broncos on the road. I mean, it's not like a deadly route they're taking here over the next couple weeks, but it ain't good. So the Cowboys are probably in trouble. Okay. Thank you to Anthony Becht. Thank you to Chris Visser. Thank you to Scotty Swingler. Thank you to Slovacics. Thank you for Christy Hunt for being my fiance and housing this beautiful studio we have in here that seems to get better every time we do it in the Flower Mound area here in North Texas. Truth be told, I'm going to dart out of here. I found a good AA meeting to go to in Louisville, which I've kind of developed a rhythm going there. It's a noon meeting, so I'm going to head there now. Then I'll come back and get back to work here in the afternoon, cut up some clips, and get ready for our Big 12 show on Tuesday or Wednesday. And yeah, man, a lot of good stuff happening. But thank you so much to Slovacics. And yeah, again, thanks to Anthony. That's a true story, by the way. I was getting trashed at a party, and he knew that I was, smoking a lot of weed and getting into drugs, and we were both football scholarship guys. And I remember he was like, "What are you doing, dude? Like you're friggin' blowing it." And I was like, "Okay," and continue to blow it, right? And not that there's any way I could have excelled to the level that he did, but he's always really cared. Good guy. Oh, I promised you this story, and then we'll get out of here. So in the morning on Saturday, I have developed a little bit of a relationship with Tim Brando, just being a young broadcaster who's looked up to him. He's come on our show a handful of times, and he's so cool to young broadcasters like me, or younger than him. So I sent him a message. I said, "Tim, we had Danny White on the show this week. He actually travels with Arizona State, and he meets with Kenny Dillingham every Sunday night." And Tim was like, "Wow, thanks, man. I'll look for Danny pregame." What does he do? And this is, by the way, this is inside. This is great scoop for young broadcasters. I learned this, okay? Now, Tim Brando on a Fox broadcast does not want to say, "I spoke to Pete Sousa and he told me this," right? Like, that's just not how a guy like that operates. So what does he do? And young broadcasters, I want you to listen all over, because I learned this. It was a reminder. I'd actually kind of known this, but it was a refresher. What does Tim do? I give him that information. I also send him the link, so he knows it happened. It's real, okay? But he goes down on the field, finds Danny White, right? Talks to Danny about Danny's experience being with Arizona State, traveling with the team, meeting with Kenny Dillingham. Then he kind of, what do they say, sidles up to Kenny Dillingham, and he's already met with Kenny on Thursday, but he just has a quick word with him. "Hey, I didn't know Danny White, you met with him." Kenny's like, "Oh, yeah, great, awesome." So what does Tim do? He takes that story that I told him, and now it's his own, and it's better than mine because he's Tim Brando, and he knows Danny White, and so he told that whole story and really brought it to life. And I thought that was super cool because it just gave us the opportunity to enhance the broadcast, and Tim's I consider him like, a mentor, but somebody I look up to. There's a cat in here right now. Hold on one second. Come here, bud. Yeah, come here. You guys want to see the cat? Check her out. This is Charlie, right, Char? Like, Charlie, stop. So I love Charlie because, as you know, I'm a Villanova Wildcat guy growing up, and she looks like a little Villanova Wildcat, and she'd rather be anywhere else right now. All right, us too. We'll see you tomorrow. Pete Sousa Show presented by Slovacics. Thanks, Scotty.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, "What can I do to help you?" That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.